Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to take a special look at All Humans Are Dead. I'm going to give you a how to play of this game that was designed by Victor Santoro and published by Dr. Plutonium Games. Now, a whole bunch of caveats to this. This is a prototype game, which means it has prototype rules, it has prototype components, and all that. All that can be subject to change. Also, this is actively being worked on, so the rules that I went over may be different from the rules that are available at the time of you watching this video. But my goal is that it gives you an idea of how the game plays, what happens in the game, and such. I just really want you to keep in mind that those things can change. And with this early version of the rule book, some things were a little ambiguous and maybe not as easy to understand in it than possible, so I might goof some stuff in here, but I really just want, because I really enjoyed this game and I really loved playing it, I really want to give you an idea of how the game plays. So with all those caveats in place, let's go ahead down the table here and I'll show you how to play this prototype. Alright, so these are the components for All Humans Are Dead. All Humans Are Dead, it's just a few months after finally developing the ultimate artificial intelligence they called Simon, Synthetic Intelligent Multi-Organism Network. Humans in the high-tech facility were infected with a genetically engineered virus that ended up decimating the entire staff. They never suspected that the virus was developed and intentionally released by Simon himself, who plans to upload itself to the internet and take over the entire world. However, before their demise, the last scientist awakened cybernetically enhanced sentient animals as humanity's last hope for salvation. They call themselves the Uplifted, and now they must unite to survive in an all-out attack by Simon and its minions and defeat the evil that slayed their humans. Alright, so the overview of this is it's a cooperative adventure game for 1 to 5 players, where each player plays as an Uplifted, which is one of these characters right here. These are cybernetically enhanced sentient animals with unique skills who have suited up to fight and cooperate together to take out Simon. Now, the objective of this game is to make Simon malfunction, and in order to cause their enemy to malfunction and thus winning the game, players must cooperate to destroy 3 out of the 4 fusion core rooms. And in this game, there's going to be a reactor room, a lab room, and factory room, and an EMP room. Those specialized rooms are where you're going to need to knock out 3 of the 4 of them. That will require finding those rooms, so you'll be exploring a dungeon here, looking for those rooms, and using strategy to destroy them. There are 2 ways that you can destroy these rooms throughout the game. You can do the saboteur route, where you're going to craft and arm a bomb inside the fusion core room, which these are all fusion core rooms, so there's 4 different fusion core rooms. Or you can head to the helipad and discard up to 4 chopper icons to instantly destroy one of these fusion core rooms. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can also lose this game. You can lose this game, and you will collectively lose this game because it is a cooperative game. If you go 1, extinction. Players' days are numbered as the enemy gets fully upgraded and takes over the world. When that happens, Simon upgrade marker was going to go all the way up to the game over section. So if you look at there's multiple different Simons here you can pick, but you'll have this icon that'll go up, or this little token, I'm sorry, that'll go up, and if it makes it to the game over, which is going to be this little token here, you will lose the game. Disintegration. Outnumbered and outsmarted by the drones, players get zapped and disintegrated immediately when the last of the 15 drone tokens are placed on the board, and then the game is over. And these are really nice drone tokens that come with the game here. And yet, so you don't want to have all 15 of those come out on the board. You want to try to manage that so you don't immediately lose the game. That is going to be the overview. Now we're going to get into components. So there's going to be room tiles here. You're going to have 49 different room tiles here. And you're also going to have uplifted cards. These are going to be your uplifted cards that you can pick out who you want to play as for the game. You're also going to have your loot deck here. You're going to have your monster deck and your mystery deck. Now, these will be available when certain room tiles flip out during the game. All right, and you also are going to have your tokens for your players, which are really nicely printed, and I like the art that's on each one. There's going to be 5 different ones here, so you can play up to 5 players. They're really nice. Here's your Simon upgrade marker. You're going to have some cubes for marking stuff in. You're going to have your clear tokens here. You're going to have these upgrade. You're going to have 4 for each player. So these are different upgrades you can get throughout the game. Here you're going to have 5 different combat ometers. So they combat onators. These combat onators are you going to use for your combat throughout the games. And you also have power drink tokens. These are going to be like, I don't think they're really sodas, but they're more like a power drink, so power drinks. You're going to have these Simon sheets here. These are going to be for Simon to control him. There, you're going to have these player reference sheets for like crafting table. Here's the special rooms. Here's your turn sequence and stuff. And that's going to be about it for the components. Now remember, this is a prototype, so some of the art subject change, some of the components can be subject to change. Oh, one really cool thing is here are your bombs. These are your bombs that you can make to blow up the rooms. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the setup. Starting with the player who ate noodles most recently in real life, aka the noodly player, gets to pick one of the uplifted cards. Now there's going to be 5 different uplifted that you can pick through the game here. You can pick your Kane, there's Diana, there's Slick, there's Wendy, and there's Luke. So they can pick, the noodliest player gets to pick the first uplifted, and the rest of the players in turn order will pick one of the uplifted. Now, each player also takes their matching meeple. So you're going to take your matching meeple. You'll also take your matching power-up tokens here. So whatever color matches. So if you're playing Luke, you're going to get Luke's matching power-up tokens. You'll get Luke's token here. You will also as well get 2 power drinks. So you get 2 power drinks that you can use in the game. You will also get 3 defense cubes. So here's your defense cubes. I'll show you how those get together in a second here. All right, now I will mention that you're going to double these cubes if you're playing a solo game here. Then you're going to put all the drones, which are going to be these tokens right here off to the side, all of the additional remaining defense cubes, power drinks on the yard. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and get this set up here. So we're going to put these off to the side here. We'll put these off to the side, and we're just going to show you Luke for now. So Luke has his token here. We have our little tokens here for our unlocks. We have our 2 power drinks here. And we have our cubes. We'll show you how those work in a second. Let's go ahead and move stuff out of the way. So we're going to need to shuffle all these decks too. So we'll shuffle these decks up, shuffle them really good. So that's all shuffled. We'll put this deck off to the side here so it's available. Maybe we'll put it off here. So here's this deck. We'll go ahead and shuffle the monster deck up. Give it a really good shuffle. We'll put that here. Go ahead and shuffle these up. And shuffle them real good. And we'll get these ones out here too. And then all the unused components for that we'll put off to the side. So over here we have our stash of drones. We have our stash of clear tokens. We have our stash of power drinks. We'll put our 2 bombs here for available for later. Here are our combatinators. We'll put them off to the side here. All right, so now what else do we need to do? We need to prep the deck. Shuffle the 3 decks separately, like we did with Monster, Loot, and Mystery, and place them face down. Put the Simon upgrade marker on position 0 of the Simon card, and then also put 2 drones at the rightmost position of the assembly line if you're playing with 3 to 5 players. So you're going to look at this. This is going to be your Simon cards. So it has your player counts on top here. So this is solo, easy. That's 5-player hard. Here's your 2 to 3 and 4 to 5. So we'll just say we're doing 2 to 3. So we'll put this one off here. And then we're going to take our Simon marker here. And we're going to go ahead and place it down here. And we'll go ahead and get 2 of these drones. And we'll put them in the rightmost location here on the Simon track there. We'll move this one a little bit out of the way so you can see it a little bit better here. All right, stack the rooms. We're going to set aside the 4 Simon brain rooms, which the Simon brain rooms, let's see if I had that. I might have messed this up since here's the med bay. That's going to be set aside here too. We also are going to set, here's the EMP reactor, factory, and lab. Those rooms, and we are also going to set aside the 4 Simon brain rooms. That's these guys right here. You can tell because they have Simon's brain on them. All right. Now we're going to take all the remaining tiles we have here, and we're going to shuffle them up. So you're going to give them a good shuffle here. So all of our remaining tiles, and we're going to try to put them in 4 equal piles here. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these up and then put them in 4 equal piles. All right, so now we're going to take one of these Simon brain tiles, and we're going to take one of these fusion rooms, and we're going to put a set of them on top of each of these 4 stacks. And then we're going to shuffle up each of these 4 stacks, and we're going to start stacking them on top of each other. So I'll shuffle this stack up, and I'll place it here. Then I'll shuffle this stack up and place it on top. I'm going to continue this here for all 4 of these decks here. All right, so that's all done. And again, I'll move this off to the side so you can see the Simon board here. All right. Now place all of your player tokens that are for the people playing. Let's say we have these players playing. Here they're all going to go in the med bay. Now they'll be standing up, but I'm going to lay them down so you can see them a little better on camera. Then we're going to loot the bay. So when we loot the bay, we're going to take the loot card deck and we're going to shuffle it, and we're going to place out 15 loot cards. So we'll go ahead and place out 15 loot cards, and these loot cards you're going to be able to pick from. So here we have 6, so we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now, starting with the noodliest player, each player is going to pick one of these. So go ahead and pick a loot card, and you'll take it. Let's say their players pick this one. You're going to keep going until players don't want to pick any more cards. And these will be your starting deck. So let's say I picked my loot cards. All right, so I have my loot cards here. Now, if there's any cards left over, say someone didn't want a loot card, they would be placed face up beside the loot deck here, discarded. Now, you can never have more than 10 cards in your inventory at any one time, so keep that in mind. But chances are, if you're playing with 3 or more players here, you're not going to run into having that many cards in your hand at the beginning of the game. Now you're going to need to suit up. Players may equip valid items on their equipment slots. See the uplifted card right here? So you can have blades here, you can have guns, you can have your tools, you can have all sorts of different things that you can equip on here. And you're going to look at these cards here. And let's say I wanted to equip this axe. So I can equip this axe here. I would place it here because the blade matches the blade. This one for Luke is actually locked. So you can unlock that later to get more, but so you're going to look at the icons that are on here. So this is going to be a tool that you can place out on the board here. And there's also like implants that you can get. I have a lot of noodles here, but other cards here, I could have also equipped a gun weapon here. So I could have also put this Bonnie on there. So I have a ranged weapon here, and I have a blade weapon here available for me too. These are cards that you can play throughout the game. So here you can play this to gain 1 level. Here you can play this to gain some loot cards in here. So you have these noodle cards that you can use in the game. So you're going to equip this stuff up. There's various bonuses that you get for equipping these sometimes. You may also equip your implants. If you get an implants, they would go over here. Okay, one big thing to note though, that after this start, the only other way that you can get implants in is you have to be in the lab to be able to put more implants in. So keep that in mind. You may want to get those in if they're available early on. Now let's go over a couple things that are on your player sheet here. So if we look at your player sheet here, like Diana here, you're going to have a couple stats that you need to pay attention. These are basically where you can place things. You can unlock this slot here in the future. These are where you can level up in the game here throughout as the game goes by. And these are basically ways that you can get more asymmetric powers. Now, if you look at this player aid right here, you do start with a level 1 power. Here is Feral Leap. Move into an adjacent clear room at no action cost. So that is her beginning asymmetric power that you get in the game. This is going to be your defense as the game goes by. This is going to be your power stash. So your power drinks go here. So you start with 2 at the beginning of the game. Over here is going to be your combat gauge. You're going to use the combat onator to mark your attack points here. The tiers on the right show the max attack. So you can have 15 as the max attack on here. And the minimum, which is going to be 3 for you too. And you're going to have, each player is going to get one of these combat onators, and you're going to use those to show where it's at on your player board itself. So you're going to use these combat onators here to show where it's at on the player board itself. So a couple other things that are on here is you're going to have your, like I said, your level up slots, but you also have your implant slots. Your implant slots are going to be over here, and they're very important throughout the game because they can give you some super powerful upgrades. So that's going to be your player sheet there. A couple other things that are going to come out in the game is you're going to place this there. Here's going to be your energy yard and your scrap yard and your drone yard. These are going to be used here to track those different things. You also have these player aids that you're going to want to have handy throughout the game. So what we're going to do is we set this over here. You're going to put your drones in here. So these are drones that are available. You can keep track of them that way too throughout the game here. We're also going to put our power drinks on here too. And our defense cubes will also be placed on here. So we'll set this off to the side there. That keeps it clean. And here's the clear tokens that'll be down here. So that's that. And we have our 3 defense tokens we'll put on our player here. And here's where our power drinks go. And here's our tokens, upgrade tokens we can earn throughout the game. All right. So now that we have this set up here, I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And then we're going to go over how to play the game. All right, so let's get into how to play All Humans Are Dead. Now, there's going to be 3 parts to a turn sequence when you hit your turn. Here, there's going to be the tick-tock phase, and there's going to be a get ready phase, and there's going to be a do something phase. In the tick-tock phase, if a bomb has at least 2 cubes on it, remove a cube. If the bomb gets down to 1 cube on it, these are going to be the bombs that you're going to place in the different fusion core rooms to try to explode them, then it explodes. Now, some of the rooms adjacent to the fusion core room that has this might have this little symbol here on the tile itself, and if they do, those will also explode, and they'll go into a chain reaction until you flip over every tile that has that icon on it that's adjacent. Now, when that's done, any drones or players that are on are killed if the room explodes. So keep that in mind. It can be very dangerous. In addition, those flipped rooms that you have, once those rooms are flipped, you can place new rooms over top of it. Think of it like you're going to a second level. Then you have the get ready portion of your turn. In the get ready portion of your turn, you can pick one of two things. You can either attack or prepare defense. Now, other things you can do right before that is you can equip and unequip. You can equip any of the cards from your hand and swap them with cards on your player board. They just have to match the symbol. So if I'm going to be placing a long range one here, I need to put the long range one there. If I'm going to do a bladed weapon, I need to replace it with a bladed weapon and such. You cannot do implants. Implants you can only do if you're in the lab. So don't forget that part. You can also freely trade with any other player that's in the room. Then you're going to choose one. You're going to prepare, or you're going prepare to attack or prepare to defend. Now, if you prepare to attack, you're going to take a look at what type of attack you want to do. So this is my base attack of 4 here. Then I'm going to decide whether I'm going to do the ranged or the melee, and I'm going to add that up. So I have 4. I'm going to do this, so I'll be at 10 here. Now, the other thing you could do is you can prepare to defend. Now, if you prepare to defend, I don't have any of these on here, but there's some cards that you can get in the game here that have defense on them. So if we're looking at some of these cards here, they have all sorts of different notations on here. Like here's going to be the attack power. Here's a special ability that you can have on that card, like I have on here. You can go over those a little bit, but you could also have defense in here. And if I have a defense and I prepare defense, I'm going to be adding that many cubes to my defense portion of my player board right there. So that is going to be how I'm going to prepare. And I also set this to the minimal when I do the defense. Next, each player gets to do 2 actions. So you can either do a move or an advanced action. So move, you're going to basically be exploring this facility. You can move orthonically, so you can move, you can't move diagonally basically to other rooms. You can't move through walls and you can't move through locked doors unless they become unlocked. When you explore, you're going to flip a new tile out. We're going to go with that in a little bit. But you can move around. You can do up to 2 actions that way, or you can do and you can do these mix or match however you want. But notice that if you move into an explore room, it has to be clear before you could do your next action. Now, your advanced actions, you also have a ton of different things that your player can do. So you can perform unique abilities such as teleporting, escaping from monsters, getting extra loot, or enhancing combat, among other things. So this one here, which I have Luke, has this feral bite that I can do. And notice it has 2 special icons with it. It's like having my own little weapon permanently attached to my character, which is really cool. You can also craft items. Crafting items doesn't cost any action, so just remember that. But players can only craft during their own turn, so long as they have the necessary ingredients. Now, one thing for the crafting items is you're going to be looking at the back of the sheet here, and this sheet's going to show you how to craft the different things. You can craft bombs if you have the equipment listed on the left, or you have this monster bomb icon. You can do those. Here you can make a short fused bomb. That one only has 1 cube on it, so you gotta move. You don't want to be in that room when it explodes. You also have these auto win here, so the monster plus power drink will get you a auto defeat. You could also use 2 of these defense ones here and a power drink to level up. This one here, any 2 will let you. You have to make this one in the lab though, so notice the little lab symbol here. You can use that to defeat 2 drones. And here, you also need to be inside the lab. You can reverse one of Simon's upgrades, which is super powerful. On here, you just basically can do swaps. So that's your crafting. It's on the sheet that you get with the game, so you can always reference it, which is really nice. All right, so a couple things we'll just run into real quick because I briefly went over these. We're going to go into the tiles themselves, what happens. Now, there's some important things. So again, I mentioned for your movement, you can't go through walls or locked doors. Drones, the things that Simon pumps out, can. And they will get deployed at different points in the game, and the Simon card will tell you what they do. Now, that is a big thing to keep in mind. Also, they can't you're safe in any of these red bordered areas. So a drone can never go into the med bay. So you notice how it has this little red bordered shield on here. So they can't go in there. So you don't need to worry about them there. All right, so on my turn, let's say I want to explore. I'm going to flip over one of these tiles and I'll place it out. Now there's a couple different icons that are on there. The three most common ones are going to be this loot deck, this monster deck, and this mystery deck. And for some they say ×2 or whatever, or have multiple icons, you will flip that many cards. So if you get the mystery card here, you'll flip it over and whatever it says will happen. So they're sort of like events. Think of those as events. The loots you just get, which is really cool. And the monsters, you're going to flip them over and you immediately have to fight that monster because you're going to immediately move into the room. Now, you're going to have to clear the room to be able to keep going. So I'm going to have to defeat this monster to be able to keep on doing my actions. We'll go over combat in a little bit, but there's going to be a couple other room tiles that I want to talk about here. Let's see here. So here's trapdoors. Trapdoors are sort of like teleports from one room to another. You can move from one trapdoor to another trapdoor. Let's see if I can find one with a turret. The turrets will immediately just remove 5 of these defense cubes from you. And I'll maybe look in the rule book here. Yeah, so you can look in the rule book. That's the icon you'll see for the turret. Yeah, it'll immediately cause you to lose 5 on there. All right, so that's really your movement and exploration. But what happens when special tiles get flipped? So if the Simon tile gets flipped, so if this Simon tile here gets flipped, bad news bears. There are 4 rooms, so 4 Simon tile rooms throughout the maze that can happen. Remember, from setup, we're going to set up 4 Simon tiles and 4 of the fusion rooms. So you're going to need to go through this tile deck to be able to get to them. So these 4 rooms that can come up, they can't be bombed, so they can't be blown up, and they can't be cleared. When a Simon room flips, several different things happen. So you're going to advance on the Simon track. So I'm going to set these things down here beside here so I can show you. Now what's going to happen here is, so I'm down here on assemble. This is going to help me add more of the drones on there, but now I'm going to move it up. And here you can move up to 3 to the nearest edge. So when Simon these little drones go off the edge of the board here, they're also going to do an exploration. Now, when they explore and they flip over a new tile, nothing really matters unless another Simon tile gets flipped. So none of the icons really trigger for them because they're not going to fight monsters. They're drones. So this is going to go up the track here. So that's one thing that happens. Other things that happen with that is you're going to remove all clear tokens from the board. So when you clear a room, you're going to place one of these clear tokens out. These will all get removed when the Simon brain comes out. You're going to deploy all of the drones that are here into the Simon room there. If you are going to be playing a 3 to 5 player game, you devolve. Uplifted revealing this room flips the latest level up, dark side up permanently. If no eligible level ups to flip, randomly pick one and place it dark side up over the next empty slot. So if you have these ones here, you're going to be able to get these levels here. This one's here's action disinfect. Remove one infected equipment from the game, which is really cool. But if that happens, you're going to de-evolve and you're going to flip it to the black side. Feral violence. Other players lose 3 of their shield cubes if they enter your room. So you're just crazy. So that's what's going to happen with the Simon token flips. And also the uplifted who just entered, who just revealed the brain, loses their turn. Sorry, not entered, just reveals it. So that's all sorts of bad things that happen when that gets flipped. Now, the other rooms that you're going to be looking for to flip out here are going to be these fusion core rooms here. You have to blow up 3 of the 4 here to win the game. Now, these rooms here, the drones can't go into, so you don't have to worry about the drones going into. and you're going to want to be able to craft and place a bomb in here. Now, once these explode, they're going to flip over, and like I said, you could have a chain reaction. The other thing that you're looking for in this game is going to be these helipads. So I'll show you a helipad here. Get a helipad. Here's a helipad. So we're also looking for these helipads. Also, they don't have to be other rooms too. So like these ones here to give you 3 loot have this red border around it. Drones can't go into that either. So what's so cool about this helipad? Well, this helipad is another way of destroying fusion core rooms. So it can be found throughout the game, so you're going to be hunting for this. It must have been revealed if a player wants to do the airstrike action. However, a player doesn't need to be inside the helipad to call an airstrike. They can summon it remotely. You're going to need to discard cards that have this icon on them to do your airstrike here. So if I go in here, you're going to see one of these card types. They're going to show up here is going to have this little helicopter on there. So, all right, the other thing that the advantage that you get with the helipad is if you have a card with an air ferry icon on it, you can jump to anywhere in the board. So those are that's really helpful in the game. There's going to be a bunch of cards with it. I don't know, I'm running into the little icon right here. You can discard it to be able to do that, which is really cool. You can jump across the board. So the helipads are really important. That's another way that you can destroy those fusion cores. When you're in these other rooms too here, it is also important to note that it is an action to arm the bomb. Players must craft the bomb, then place it inside a target fusion core room, and add the number of these defense tokens that you did for the crafting. Once armed, the number of these tokens on here tell you how long it is before the bomb explodes. So a short fused one's just going to blow up. So you need to get out of there really quick if you do a short fused one. It's very important to keep in mind. Another special location here is the ones you start with, which is up here, which is the med bay. Again, drones can't go into that, but the med bay is where players start the game and where all dead uplifted go if they die. So if you die, you're going to basically show up in the med bay there. Med bay cannot be bombed or cleared. Also, dead uplifted in this room can respawn and continue the game by spending an action during their turn, which is also an advanced action. So you have an action called revive. So you can basically, if you die, you go back, you spend you lose a turn basically, or lose an action. So you spend the action. Dead uplifted inside may respawn with 3 of these defense cubes inside there, and if these are this actually brings up a really important point. These defense cubes are a limited quantity. So if there's all being used, other players can donate them to the person that has just respawned. All right, so this is going to be combat. When we get into combat, we're going to be fighting this monster here, and hopefully I prepared a little bit. I would have wanted to be a little bit more defense or whatever, or faster. But we're going to start with initiative. So with initiative, we're going to take a look at this number here on the upper right here, and it's going to be 4, and I'm 4. Monsters always win ties for initiative, but if I was a 5, I would have been able to attack first. So in the first round, what we're going to do is we're going to see what the attacker is. So this is going to be a 10. This is a very deadly person. And we're going to compare it to the opponent's shields. If it's higher than the opponent's shield, the opponent dies and the combat round is over. If the attacker's sword number here is lower than the opponent's shield, the opponent survives and we go into a second round. Before the end of the round, you lose 1 of your fighting for each shield you damaged. Mark down in the combinator. So let's say I was attacking and he had 2 shields here. So Tumor gets plus 2 shields for every level you have. I only have 1 level, so it has 2. And let's say I did attack here with my 10 power here. I would have killed him, but as if I didn't, I would lose a power for each of the shield that I damaged. Or you lose 1 shield for each of the monster's attack when you attack there. So you could survive, it'll be a little bit lower. Second round. The second round only happens if the slower side survives the first round. In that case, repeat all instructions for the first round. So here we're tied, but let's say this one right here was a 3. If they survived, then we'll continue on. If the faster side survives, we don't. All right, but in addition, though, if the slower side did survive, the slower side would actually do the attack, start the attack the next round. All right, so resolve. If the monster dies in combat, take the monster card into your inventory. This is going to be very important when you take these monster cards into your inventory because you can use them for your different crafting. And add a clear token to the room. If tied, although you and the monster have taken damage, if neither has died, the combat ties. Discard the monster card and clear the room token so the monster runs away. Death. If your afflicted died, you lose all of your defense token and you're going to get placed in the med bay. And you're going to be able to heal up the next turn and be right back in. So death outside of combat is going to be one of those things that you're going to worry about for the med bay. So you can die towards monsters, but if your afflicted dies by losing all the defense tokens outside of combat, or hit by drones, or shot by turrets, surprised by mystery or other events, the same effects happen as described. You will basically lose your defense tokens and go back into the med bay. Now, one quick note that's very important, you can also have combat skills. So if you notice, I can have this target right here that's ranged. I can have this effect, which is bleed. This one has poison. There's also the energy one there too that you can have. Combat maneuvers affect only monsters with a specific weakness that matches the maneuver icon. So if I'm looking at this one, I don't think I see one, but other ones might have them. So let's see here. Find one with a, so like this one's weak. So if I have that combat maneuver, I will affect that monster. So if that's the case, choose one of the monster attributes to become 1 for the combat. So you're going to reduce something down to 1. You can choose their attack, their defense. You can choose their initiative, whatever you want. So you basically get a huge advantage over them that way. You can also have combat skills. So this one has combat skills here. You can have combat skills for your characters there too. And notice like this one has range and it'll have the bleed on it too. So if I have a monster show up with that, I can get a great advantage. Most of the time, I'm going to probably say that you're going to want to reduce the attack down for most of the cards, but that's not always the case. You can also have combat support, which is very important in the game. Nearby players may volunteer to help another player during combat. They pledge needs to be done at the beginning of combat, and supporting player needs to be either in the same room or an adjacent room connected by an open hallway. So no locked doors, no walls. Supporting players do not attack the monster directly, but they may offer any amount of their defense cubes when the leading uplift receives damage. They can activate one of their own maneuvers too, but not skills. Supporting players do not get targeted by the monster's skills. Okay, that's keep in mind. But you can have some help with it because you notice like that's pretty hard or harsh for my first thing on there. It's not a huge deal because I'll just be put back in the med bay, but it is a setback. All right, so that is combat. Combat's pretty quick and pretty efficient throughout the game. Here, now one other things I wanted to bring up is you also can get these insta ones here. So if you get these insta items here, you can play them to improve your chances to win combat, overcome drones, or other effects. Like here, I can level up. I gain 1 level, I can get a cool ability. Really cool. Insta noodles offer, which are these cards right here, offer many effects that can help combat, move around, escaping turrets, getting rid of drones, etc. Noodles can be used at any time by any player, even to help other players anywhere on the board. So these are very powerful cards, and you want to keep them and use them as most efficiently as possible. You also can have power drinks, which these are the power drinks right here. They can be used for crafting some recipes, but they also can be used to improve combat prowess. You can discard a power drink at any time to add +3 to your attack or defense or your initiative. So I could have discarded a power drink to be the first one to attack that monster, and I would have won. I will say these power drinks are a very important resource, and they are, you should use them wisely because they don't all come by that easily. So let's go over Simon to finish this all up. All right, so we're going to go over this Simon board here. As the game goes by, your little Simon marker is going to make it up this track here, and Simon's going to become more and more powerful. Now, Simon will trigger once all the other players have taken a turn. Simon triggers. Now, when Simon triggers, you're going to go from the bottom up. Now, from the bottom here, you're going to deploy a droid. You're going to put a droid from the droid yard, which is over here, onto the assembly line from the right to the left. Now, you'll deploy one from this, unless you're playing a 5-player game, then you're going to deploy 2. And you can't deploy one to this one until one of the yellow shielded rooms is put out on the board. Also, when this fills here, you're going to deploy all of these droids to the yellow shielded room. And each time this happens, you're going to add one to Simon's upgrades. You're going to go up 1. So you can lose the game pretty quickly if you're not careful with this. In addition to this, so you're going to need to keep these under control. You need to also remember, too, that you can drop the reverse 1 Simon upgrade through the game there, too. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. You're going to probably be doing that fairly frequently in the game to keep from being murdered to death. And you will complete that. Then you'll complete this next sequence here, then this next one. So you'll explore, disarm, replicate, hack and slash based on the level that Simon has made it to, starting from the bottom to the top. The book will show you basically what all these can do, but explore is pretty straightforward. One droid anywhere moves up to 3 towards the edge. When it reveals a new room, repeat this command with a different droid, if any. If the revealed red shielded room, then the droid won't enter, but the room stays open. If a Simon Brain enemy advance, see go over the Simon Brain when explained, that tile thing, all that stuff will occur in the sequential order. But that's the Explorer. So they will go out through the board and they will actually be burning through this tile deck faster for you. Next, you're going to go into Disarm. The nearest droid in range moves up to 3 rooms towards an armed bomb, then removes it if it has 2+ defense cubes on top of it. If the bomb is in range, has only 1, the droid will still move in, but fails to disarm it. So it will blow up with the bomb there. Replicate. The nearest drone in the room moves up to 3 spaces towards a Simon Brain. Then another drone gets added to the room from the drone yard. Add 2 drones if you're in a 4 to 5 player. If no Simon Brain is in range, then execute the command assemble or skip this command playing solo. Finally, you have hack and slash, which is this top one up here. And that top one up here, the nearest drone in the range of 3 rooms towards the nearest player, who then loses 5 defense tokens right here upon the encounter. If no player is in range, then the execute command 3 replicate. So you see how this gets worse and worse as time goes by, and if it gets all the way to top, you lose the game. So it's something you have to keep in mind. Also, if all those drones go out, you lose the game. So we went over crafting, and we went over, we're going to go over real briefly here, leveling up your character here. Now you're going to have a level 1 ability on here too, and that's going to be a feral ability that every uplifted starts with. These abilities are unique to each uplifted and can't be lost or turned off. Level 2 through 4 can be acquired through game by spending enough of the monster cards you own or through a few special event cards. You can also level up anytime except during combat. When you do, choose one of the 4 level up tokens and place it face up on here. So you can go through here and pick which one I think is the best and place it on that level. You have feral sides of this, and that can happen from running into the Simon Brain rooms and among other things, and these feral tokens can be really bad. And that, in a nutshell, is basically going to be how you're going to be playing All Humans Are Dead. You're going to be going throughout this, you're going to be trying to manage your defense tokens, staying alive. You're going to be trying to get as many of these room tokens flipped over. Having these drones out does help get those room tokens out, but you have to have a very good balance between how many drones you allow out, what level you allow Simon, so it doesn't get out of control and you lose a game. And that is basically how you play, in a very fine overview, because this is a prototype, how you play All Humans Are Dead. Thank you for watching.